What's going on, moms and dads? Welcome to the latest episode of the Fade You podcast, recording on Wednesday, October 4th. Today, we are talking some NFL Week 5, so we look forward to bringing you picks, predictions, discussion, all that good stuff. Make sure you are following us on Twitter, X, at Fade You Sports. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give it a like. And we're going to make sure we get all the shows up on the YouTube so you can check out Ham and Cheese. You can check out the Four Idiots show. All that stuff is going to be there for you, but make sure you follow the Twitter. That's where everything's at Fade You Sports. Matt here with Kmart and Chris Duke. Joe is on a plane right now, so was unavailable. So, in the spirit of the MLB playoffs, put in the call to the bullpen, and he's getting warmed up since yesterday, so he's ready to come out here and start throwing some heaters. We brought in the big dad. We brought back Jared. How you doing, Dad?
Good, man. What would the signal be when you signaled down to the bullpen? You'd be like doing one of these, like, give me the big guy, bring the big guy in, right?
It would be, so those watching on video like this, it would be this, because he's coming in with the big balls and he's coming in with the cannon and he's ready to fire. That's what it is.
What's up? How you guys been?
Been good.
Good. Looks like the Twins just won.
First postseason
Two sweeps,
wins,
baby. Two sweeps.
2002.
18
That's over
straight.
20 years, Dads. Math is not my strong suit, but that's a long time. I was in high school in 2002, the last time the Twins won a playoff series. I think we maybe all were, except Jared. Jared, what were you doing back in 2000, in the fall of 2002?
That was
last time the Twins were winning a playoff series.
That was my first fall semester in college.
Go Dogs.
No, I was a renegade then.
Oh shit! Okay. Were those JUCO days?
Yeah, that's the great Bakersfield College.
Oh wow, home of the Renegades, huh? All right, we'll have to take another trip down memory lane to Jared's first fall semester of college here, one of these shows for sure. But all right, I want to get this straight. So I'm like checked out on baseball. I said the playoffs don't have a lot of juice for me. It's Atlanta's really good. The Doys are decent. Everybody else seems kind of random. So I'm certainly out of the loop on this. Who has a Texas Rangers World Series ticket, and what is it? Chris, I know you mentioned you have one, I think.
Joe has the best one. I think Joe might have got 30-1 back when he was in Nevada before the season started. I was late to the party, but I think I have 7-1 on the AL and 14-1 on the World Series, so not quite, about half as good as Joe on that. But that was before the acquisition of Scherzer, and DeGrom, the whole bullshit. But hey, here they are. They got in the playoffs, knocked off the Rays. They can knock off. I'm assuming they're going to go play the Orioles, since the Twins will probably get the Astros. Go knock off the Orioles. We're in business, baby. Let's see.
Okay. Kmart, were you in on this?
No. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and we're kind of going over. He's a big baseball guy, and we're going over the bracket. And I mean, he called the Twins winning. He said he's got the Rangers beating the Orioles. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put that series price in. So I'm waiting for that to come out. But yeah, no, I missed the memo that Chris and Joe jumped on the Rangers. Not that I probably would have done it, because I'm a Dodger homer, and I don't know. Rangers kind of seemed like they sucked earlier. But yeah, no, unless it's the Dodgers Rangers, I'll be pulling for them.
Absolutely. Give the listeners something to root for too throughout these baseball playoffs. Jared, how you been? How's dad life? I'm going to crack open a beer and let you just kind of catch up with us.
Busy, and I've got 5 nights a week of practice every single week, and that doesn't include when we have tournaments on weekends. So there you go. Give the dog some too.
Yeah, he knows it's good. He likes a cold one too. There you go, buddy.
Yeah, super busy, man. Just not ever finding any free time.
Damn. Well, we are certainly glad that Jared's here. I think the last time you were on, Jared, was one of our preseason shows, and what I want to start with you is just kind of your assessment of the NFL landscape here after the first 4 weeks. We've got 4 games worth of a sample size now. Surprises, disappointments, anything you feel like you had right from when we were on our preview show? Anything you feel like you were way off on? What seems to stand out the most?
I think that's a lot of like the teams that we thought were going to be just bad. That everyone's talking, they might win 2 games between Houston and Arizona and all these, lines of reasoning on how they were just going to, call it in. And man, Houston's 2-2. Arizona's fought. I mean, they probably should be 2-2. They should have beat the Giants. So, I mean,
the Bucks were supposed to be trash.
Yeah, a lot of teams that, everyone was so sold on their unders and just garbage came out fighting.
And then you have the Bears, right? And some people thought the Bears were actually going to be good. Chris Duke's holding a fucking Bears over 7.5 wins ticket, for God's sakes. How you feeling about that one now, Chris?
Well, they're not going to be the Lions of last year. What did the Lions do? Rattle off 6 of 7 or something, 7 of 9 for me to win that one. Not looking good, especially blowing that 21-point lead to the Broncos of all teams, Matthew.
Oh.
How many tickets did they write for Fields winning MVP? That was like the hot shot call before the season. He might not even Evan before he's benched.
I don't know if that's worse than a couple summers ago when it was Mitch Trubisky being bet for MVP and the whole MVP Mitch movement. I don't know if this is worse or not, but it's rough. And those people are looking quite silly right now. We get to watch them Thursday night. We get to watch MVP Justin Fields, Chris Duke, Chicago Bears on a short week at Washington. How much do you have to hate yourself to bet this game, Kmart?
Probably a lot. Like I can't even get there on a teaser for shits and giggles.
If Kmart can't even get there on a teaser, this game is fucked.
Yeah, like I honestly don't know if I'll watch it. Like there's nothing in it for me. Like I didn't watch Sunday Night Football, even though I probably had one of the biggest bets of my life on the Jets. So I didn't owe my bookie more money. So thank God that came through. But honestly, the reason why I didn't watch it, I just didn't give a fuck to see them pan to you-know-who countless times. Like, I don't care. Like, I love the NFL. I love watching it, but no, I'll tune out for that shit. I'm good.
Well,
yeah, hey, Kmart, it's not free. Yeah. They beat the Arizona Cardinals, right? That we just talked about. That Commanders handle business. They're going to handle business against these god awful Bears. I know Trig hates himself enough to bet it.
Just tease it down, right, Chris?
Yeah, come on. I was lucky. I was golfing and then listened to the old school, man. I feel like it's so old school to listen to the game on the radio. It's kind of cool though, so I didn't have to worry about the T Swift issue. Because I was listening with my ears and I liked the sound of Wilson actually doing something. Everyone was shocked that he was making plays. And Kmart, we got lucky. Mahomes did the right thing.
Hey, we've all been screwed. I think we were all on that game where Chubb went down, where we would have got the cover. So it came back to us. And I'm pretty sure it's happened twice where I've been on the Chiefs side of that. So no, it came back. And yeah, he did the right thing. Look what happened last year. I think when Chubb ran in, they lost to the Jets. They came back to win. So you know what? Fuck crying about your ticket. He wants to win football games. He doesn't give a fuck about the spread like college.
Yeah. I think there was less than 90 seconds left. They lost that game. Matt, there's people online saying on Twitter X, I know they're all brilliant on there, saying there was no mathematical advantage to doing that. It's are you fucking you have a 0 IQ. They ended the game. What do you mean there's no the game was over, they won. Why would you give it back to the team? So whatever.
Funny discussion. And anytime something like that happens, the NFL is rigged, people. just they crawl out of the sewers and start making noise. What's up?
The script came out,
Yeah.
for Pat.
Yeah. Yeah, the script. No, Kyle, you make a good point. Like, that's gambling. Like, sometimes you're going to be on the right side of that shit, and sometimes you're not. That's why, you can't win every bet because there's some weird variance stuff that sometimes, right, Chris, when the field goal doinks in, sometimes you're on the right side of that, and sometimes you're not on the right side of it. Like if he had Jets first half and they
I lost a little bit of my profit on. I followed Chris a little bit on that because I got FOMO. I'm like, I don't want to be watching a movie and then getting a text from Chris going bang, 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 like happens all the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do like a little bit. So maybe I profit, but in case shit happens, like I don't lose like more money. But I did a second half, so I got it back because I doubt I would have done it. Like, I'd like to say I still would have done it had those won, but I don't think I would have. So to me, it was a wash.
Jared, are the kids Swifties? Are they into NFL now because of the whole Taylor Swift hoopla?
One of them is old enough to know who Taylor Swift is and listens to it, but not enough to care. Like the other two could give a shit less.
My wife
hasn't quite grabbed everybody. Kids at school are writing about it in their argument essays. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But all right, let's get into week 5. And Chris, I want to start with you here. We've seen 4 weeks of games, and you're a big forget what you just saw kind of guy, right? You're not going to overreact 1 week or one game or anything like that. So how at this point of the season, we're a quarter of the way in, how do you weigh forget what you just saw against, well, we've seen this a couple times now, so what we're seeing might actually be real? Because I think there's a few teams that fall into this category. So how do you weigh those two things?
Yeah, there's certain things I think Kmart mentioned a couple times this week. Like, look, there's certain things, or maybe it was Chase. You don't fix certain things in 1 week, like maybe a bad drop pass or some fluky tips or something like that. But if you're like the Giants, shit like that, like sorry Jay, but you don't fix a shitty O-line over 6 days. Sorry to pick on that team, but there's plenty of them that have a lot to deal with. But yeah, it is hard because everyone's talking shit on the Bills after week 1, and then look what they did the last 3 weeks, and then everyone was down on the Texans, and then look what they've done, and down on Commanders after scoring 3 points, and they go almost beat the Eagles. So it keeps reminding you to just keep but those teams are decent. So but I'm going to be, my 2 plays today are absolutely forget what you just saw plays I'll be giving out and hope that they regress a little bit.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Kmart, how about you? How do you weigh not overreacting to 1 week versus we've seen this now fairly consistently? Like, I think your Bengals fall into this category where it's like, okay, it's only 4 games. It's the start of the year. We expected them to be a playoff team, but they don't look like one. How hard is that at this point?
Yeah, and like I'm going through, all the games, and I have like 7 leans that I'm going to narrow down to like 2 or 3 picks, and the Bengals are on there again. And it's like, are they just, I think we talked about it last week, it's just hard to figure out where exactly they are, because similar to the Giants, there's a lot of issues more than Joe Burrow's calf. And now Higgins is probably going to be out multiple weeks. So now, there's less weapons for him to go to. But yeah, to put it lightly, I took my Burrow jersey off at halftime. I was like, oh, this isn't working. I'm just going to sulk. And, I was on my way to an 0-3 start after, a great Saturday in college. I was down in the dumps. I almost said, hey, make sure you got Jared ready, because I ain't coming on the pod. I got nothing. And then luckily the last 2 hit. But, yeah, it's tough. I'm trying to get back in my old ways where I feel like I've just become too contrarian, because it's everything we talk about. It's kind of just been battered into me at this point when, I used to be kind of the square bettor that wins, kind of like what Dennis has turned into. So even like the Ravens this week, I'm looking at that. I was like, man, like past 2 years, I'd be all over the Steelers. And now I'm just like tempted. I'm watching that line drop and I'm just going to be patient and see what it does. Like, maybe it's that game where the early bettors who got 4.5 win, and those, later guys who snagged 3.5 are also going to win. We've seen that a lot too. So there could be two sharp sides to it.
Well, and Kmart, going back to taking your Joe Burrow jersey off at halftime, it's really hard it's hard to not overreact 1 week when you lose on them, right? Because it's like, okay, they got me this week. They're sure as fuck not going to get me next week. But then sometimes next week is the exact right time to get back on them, right?
Yeah. And like,
that's hard.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just so hard to cap these things now. Like I'd say like when I was looking at all the numbers and, all the analytics, I'm like, probably half the games this week are legit coin flips. And it's just about trying to find others where, you can get lucky and just be like, hey, I think it's kind of what Joe, is finally starting to say with trends. You can make a trend for anything. You can rationalize anything to make it fit the narrative that you want to fit, whether it's division dogs, division whatever. But it's just become so hard because the talent level, like, it's so close. It's just who executes the most or who really has the bigger bruisers, on the offensive and defensive lines that can make that little bit extra in the second half, get you to a victory. The unsung heroes, really.
It's the difference between a tip pass and an incomplete pass and a tipped pass and an interception.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the lines are so sharp now. They can go one way or the other. That.
And even, go to college real quick. Like a lot of us were on Louisville last Friday and, they squeaked by 13-10. We our bet pushed, but they probably had like 10 drops. It's like, shit, man, they catch some of those. They might win by 20 just because they killed so many drives. And, they weren't, maybe 2 of them, the throw could have been better, but I mean, they were legitimate drops where they just get their kids just turning their head down too quickly. And same in the NFL. Someone did it last week too. And you could see him do it, and I laughed. I was like, "Oh shit, he tried to run without and you hardly see it that severe, and like it was just pinpoint. I wish I remembered which it was, but I was watching Red Zone and too many games.
It's the little things. Jared, you are not a little thing, but we're going to get you in here with one of your picks first. So when you look at week 5 here, Kmart kind of admitted, hey, half these look like coin flips. We got some small ones that are close to pick'em spreads right now. We do have some big, gross, ugly ones. What are you looking at this week?
It's weird. I think my favorite game is Philly Rams and the Rams plus 4.5, where we talk in the group chat through the, Jalen Hurts doing his up the middle, and that's where the Rams are strong at. So we'll see if they can, create some, 3rd and 2s that maybe he doesn't get. Maybe he's not able to, Donald pushes back and, holds them and stops drives there, because that's what Philly's time of possession absolutely kills people. They just don't have the same amount of opportunities because they can sustain such long drives. So I think Rams plus 4.5 at home, I think is what I like. That's my favorite game.
Chris, your Rams. You going to be in the Rams house this week to cheer for your team?
Yeah, I'm having my wife book the nicest suite for us. Get a couple. No, I joked with Joe because Christine helped build that palace. I lean that. I love, but I've been rocked in these afternoon rounds. A lot of times I love them. I'm like, oh, I'd love to take an ugly dog in the afternoon because there's more games. There's only 2 or 3 games, right? The last 2 weeks have had 3 games, a little more isolated than the 10 in the morning. They've covered like 5 out of the last 7. The freaking Niners destroy. The Raiders got destroyed. They came back in the second half, but Chargers blew them out first half. And then obviously the Cowboys destroyed the Patriots. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, but this Rams team, I know they've absolutely gone up in people's power ratings. They thought they're going to be a 4, 5, 6 win team. They're looking like they might win 8 or 9. So hopefully McVay's got something up his sleeve to play tight.
Is your MVP going to play, Chris?
I don't know. The offensive player of the year.
Yeah. Kmart, what are your thoughts on this one? The Rams, I mean, I got to agree with Jared. Kind of an intriguing home, even though this is going to be overrun by Philly fans. Home dog here on Chris's Rams.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I were to lean right now, it would be the Eagles. But like, I even say that I'm like, oh man, there's at some point someone's going to take advantage of that secondary. Like it was kind of taken advantage of last week by the Commanders, but somehow the Bengals line was given Stafford issues. I don't remember how many 7 sacks on that game. So, for the Eagles' strength will always be their defensive front. So that's kind of what has me tossed up. Like I honestly, apart from that, like I'm just like I could make an argument for both. Like obviously the sharp side's on it. Like I think it was even Chris's favorite dead number. And then this morning when I was running the lines, like I have it on my sheet at -4. So like clearly the sharps are hitting the Rams. So Jared's probably on the right side, but because the line's coming down so much, like it's making me lean on the Eagles. But I just don't know if I trust their secondary with possibly getting cut back. And even if he's, snap count, they still have Puka. Kyron Williams is playing amazing.
Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, like it's a fun team. A lot better than any of us thought coming into the season. I mean, Matt, you even said it. Are they going to be tanking? And you scared me. I was like, no.
Well, it was it. Yeah, if they are as injury riddled as they were last year, like Stafford is upright right now. Like as long as they have Stafford firing lasers out there, I mean they're still well coached. Like they're average to good. But I mean, is Stafford going to hold up for the whole season? I have serious doubts about that. But for now, yeah, they look fine. I mean, they've been in every game. They beat Seattle. They were in the game against San Francisco, who owns them. Jared, do you consider, because I'm just thinking of narratives that people are going to use to justify either side in this one, do you weigh travel at all? Because the Rams are off 2 road games in the Midwest. Last week went to overtime. And then on the Philly side, you have a East Coast team traveling to the West Coast out of their time zone. Do you weigh travel at all, or is that irrelevant here?
I think a little bit. I think maybe if I'm leaning towards a bet, maybe then that could be the final thing that pushes me over. If it's like, if it's a London game or something like that, or if they're coming home, coming back, from a long road trip, then potentially it could push me over, but typically not. That's not something that I'll really dive into or really, push me one way.
Especially early October. I mean, if we're talking late November, early December, maybe it's a different story, but we're still very early in the season.
Yeah, they're not flying commercial. They're not packing in.
Yeah.
Sporting
yeah,
groups.
Exactly.
Like, so.
Yeah. All right, Chris, you said that you had some forget what you just saw plays. Why don't you give us one of them to kick your bets off?
Yeah, I mean, it goes off of what you just said too with this travel. But unfortunately, I think the right side is going to be Atlanta here. I know they're coming back from London after an ass whipping. I mean, could they have looked any worse the last 2 weeks? They've scored 7 points and 6 points against the Lions and the Jags. And can Houston look any better, right? Winning as home dogs and road division dogs outright over the Steelers and Jags. So, I mean, most people probably think, well, the fucking Texans destroyed the Jags and Atlanta just looked like ass against the Jags. And you're going to give me 1.5. Go ahead and give me I know he hasn't been playing well, but he's really bad on the road. But he's always pretty decent at home, as they came back and beat the Packers there. Give me Mr. Ritter at home.
All right. What do you think, Kmart?
Falcon cock.
CJ Stroud in Houston and our boy D'Amico Ryans and Slowick, they kind of have something going on down there in Houston. Is Chris right? Is this the good sell high spot on Houston and buy low on the Riddler?
I mean, the teams are so comparable. I mean, Chris made all the points, but I was looking at this, and yeah, it's kind of similar to Jared's. A spot where I'd be like, yeah, wow, short home fave, just look like shit. Houston's on a tear. But at what point is Houston better than we think? At what point is Stroud something special in that defense? Like, I mean, not to get too crazy about what they did to Pickett, but they even stymied the Jags a little bit, who should be explosive. Didn't really look that good in London either, but this Houston team definitely has my head scratching. Like, again, like I have this is a lean on the Texans now, and defensively, Falcons are going to be in every game. They want to run the ball, but I feel like Ritter is, this was another team I did a dissertation on, but Ritter just seems to be such a liability. He can't get the ball to Pitts, can't get the ball to London. All he can do is hand it off to Bijan. And at what point, is a good defense, like I think Houston has, just going to be able to hone in on him and just take him out of the game. Like, once that happens, is Ritter really just going to start throwing up 50-50 balls to Pitts in London? I mean, shit, I think I would have nothing else to lose. They're two freak athletes, but I don't know. Like, it's not like these win 80% of the times. I mean, it's maybe like Chris, even our favorite, college system, it's like 57%. Like, it's not like it's something crazy, in the 60s. So even something like this, it's like, I'm willing to back the Texans, who, stupid as it sounds, is, I think, clearly the better team, even with 5 hazmat suits out there protecting Stroud.
A couple things real quick. I think, one, there's a lot of teams like this where they're just completely held back by quarterback play right now. I mean, so early in the season for the Falcons to just be unable to run an offense. Look at the Giants, the Jets before last week. Zach Wilson just completely holding that team back. Pittsburgh with Pickett, Patriots with Mac Jones. Like, there's some awful quarterback play happening. Honestly, where it's like,
sorry, I was going to say, if they said they were going to start Heine, whatever his name is, Henke. Seriously, someone help me. I'd probably lean the Falcons, but Ritter is he's not getting better. Dude. I mean, I laid it out for everybody how he improved late last season, but I mean, clearly teams are resting for the playoffs or they stop caring. Because even Pickett, same thing, showed improvement. If you go back years, Sam Darnold, everyone thinking going into his sophomore year after the numbers he put up the last 4 or 5 games. We all remember his sophomore season. So I'm starting to think these last 4 or 5 games where, people get all, these massive hard-ons with these rookies, I don't think it means shit. Because once maybe it's the tape. I mean, it didn't matter for Purdy, but I mean, there's something to be said that at some point, kind of like some of these pros or analysts are talking about Wilson, you've seen enough. Like,
he's special.
I think I'd honestly rather have Wilson than Ritter. And wow. I don't think he's that far behind Pickett.
It's rough right now. It's like What'd you say, Jared?
You don't think Ritter's that far behind Pickett?
No, I don't think Zach Wilson's that far behind Pickett. And that, I just think his confidence, for whatever reason, is just so piss poor maybe because of New York, but watching Pickett last week made me want to kill myself. Like, he was terrible. Like, those 2 drives where they had to settle for field goals, and then the one where they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. Some of it's the play calling, but it was kind of the same thing we got in the Twitter war with our friend, on Monday night. At what point, do you know you're going to be blitzed from your weak side and to get rid of the fucking ball? I don't understand how these professionals make these mistakes when I was taught this shit in high school. The NFL is a fucking terrible product. This is why I enjoy college a lot more, because somehow these kids, even though they can't play in the NFL, it's more exciting. I just hate seeing balls on 4th and fucking 1 thrown at someone's foot. It's like Jeff
bad right
Garcia
now.
all over again.
It's like, Chris, if you're one of the Falcons, it's okay, they're going to need 20 to 23 points to win the game. It's like, forget scoring that many points. They can't even string together first downs to sustain a drive or create anything downfield. It's bad on offense right now. And I think it goes back to something that Jared said earlier with Houston. Everybody thought Arizona and Houston were going to be scum, right? Houston's going to owe Arizona the 2nd pick in the draft. At what point is Kyle right? And it's like, all right, they're just way better than everybody thought. Same with Arizona. They're way feistier and way scrappier than anybody thought. That's the hard part about this point in the season, when you're like, God, do I make this adjustment after I've seen them play really well for 2 games in a row now? Or is that still just a really small sample size, and we don't want to get crazy with that? It's really tough. So
what do you know versus think you know?
Yeah, that's it right there. Well said.
What if the Cards are the opposite of the Dolphins that year, when they started out and everyone's like, holy fuck, they might lose 16 games, and then they rattle off 4 in a row at the end? What if the Cardinals win a few early and then just fucking lose 12 in a row to finish? Who knows?
It happens every year. There's a team that gets out to a 7-1 ATS start. I think it was the Falcons last year. And then they just go on a tailspin where they can't cover shit. So it's important to keep in mind it's a long season, and what we've seen through 4 weeks for some teams isn't going to, that's the NFL. Kyle says it's a bad product. I think it's just the fact that there's ups and downs in a long season, and we'll see where some of these teams end up.
It's a bad product when they literally have Kelsey become a Pfizer man, and then all of a sudden he's dating Taylor Swift. It literally, it is what it is. That's why I didn't watch Sunday Night Football, and that's why Sunday Night Football was one of the lowest rating Sunday Night Football games in decades. Because an actual NFL fan ain't falling for the bullshit. I don't know why I'm so pissed. I'm just heated right now.
For me, it's totally the opposite. I can just tune that out, and it doesn't, the Taylor Swift stuff. People are up in arms about this, and it's I don't really care. Show it.
I think it all goes back to the whole kneeling stuff too. They lost a lot of fans from that, and a lot of them are getting lost on this shit now too, because they just don't care. They don't want this. They just want to watch a football game, and not, before we would get a hot girl from Bud Light. Now who knows, Carl's Jr. whoever's hot now, but. Just bring back mud, dirt, beer, boobs, and I think America will be fine.
Oh man, that's a fun tangent. Kyle, you said you had about 7 leans earlier. Do you want to try to narrow down your list? You want to give us one that you kind of like?
Sure, let's look at this. Honestly, one I'm really looking hard at right now is, and I wish they didn't just beat the living piss out of Miami, because I think it would have been better. But I do really like the Bills in London, just because I feel like come Sunday or Saturday night, a lot of public money is going to come in on the Jags, because they're the London Jags. And that's kind of why I was on them last week too. It's just they always play well. First one there, Atlanta. I don't know if they've been doing it. Just felt right. Felt like the right spot. But I feel like, okay, they did it again. They kind of ran over them. Wasn't really a game after that pick six. I just feel like a lot of people are going to jump on that too. And it's a smelly line. It's Chris's favorite 5 right now. But I could just see the Bills, winning this game by, 10. So
Well,
that's kind of what I don't know if I'm going to do it, but that's one I'm leaning really hard on right now, along with the Ravens.
Well, in an unplanned celebration of fandom, we happen to have a Bills fan on the show tonight. So, Jared, Bills going to London off a blowout, quite honestly, off of 3 straight blowout wins. Any concern about a letdown traveling to London after how they've played the past 3 weeks? Or is this one where they're so hot right now? And the Jags have been pretty inconsistent. Is this one that you expect the Bills to look like one of the best 2 teams in the league and put their foot down on Jacksonville?
I'm so nervous about the secondary right now. I'm gonna figure out whether or not Poyer's gonna be out because White tore his Achilles or popped his Achilles, which we also have on here.
Yeah,
so
that's close to home on this show.
So, yeah, I mean, that kind of worries me a little bit. I think, obviously, Peterson's a good to very good offensive mind. So, I mean, it's just I'm going to stay away from it just because it feels like, to me, like Josh Allen has played straight the last 3 weeks after playing so dismally the first week that I think there's bound for a little regression there, probably a turnover or 2. And then, obviously, I think the Bills are the better team, but with the turnover possibilities, it's a stay away from me.
But like Jared, how many years has it been? Like they've just had secondary issues. I feel like that's always a reason why I wouldn't play them or I'd fade them, take the points, and it just doesn't matter. They just keep plugging away. Even last year it's DeMar Hamlin. And I forget who it was the year before, but I just feel like they always have these issues in their secondary, but they have really good coaching.
Oh, yeah. And with McDermott taking over on the defense, taking over for Leslie Frazier, they're playing a little bit more aggressive. And the only reason why Hamlin was in that game was because Poyer was out. So
right.
Back up at that point. Now we got a guy from the Rams, Taylor Rapp, been a solid safety his career. So he's come in and played well the last couple of weeks, but I don't know. I guess it makes me cautious to go and say, hey, just because they have theoretically stepped up in the past. I mean, they've played well, next man up kind of deal. But at some point, when you lose your all-pro corner and your all-pro strong safety, it kind of pushes it back, and now you got a couple of guys in Elam who has been scratched. I mean, he hasn't even. I think he dressed week 1, but he was our first round pick last year, and he hasn't dressed the last 3 weeks. So, I mean, they got young secondary behind Hyde and Toronto.
Well, I mean, you're probably going to get me to stay off this game, considering the last time we got in a debate similar to this, Aaron Rodgers died. So, yeah.
Right. I mean, I missed that bet. I mean, I think I was on the right side of calling the game, but I missed the bet. So.
No. Just when we're doing the preview, I was talking about the Jets, and I said they had an average line, and you're like, bro, they have the worst line. And you nailed it. I mean, I guess the other New York team technically has the worst line, as Buff, told us earlier today. But it's also not very good there.
No.
You guys hear about the numbers with Josh Allen? I think it's 40 something out of his 50 something wins have come by 7 or more double digits. When they win, they fucking destroy. They cover, so it's you don't have to worry about laying the 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever they've been laying. And, I mean, obviously, week 1, they lost outright, too. So, it's crazy, though. When they win, when those Bills beat you, they take it to you.
I guess for me, it's like, what are the defenses what do they have in common where Allen is presented with some problems? And I guess it just comes down to being disruptive and creating pressure and getting him kind of scrambling and getting him off his pace. And that's where the turnovers come in. That's where the fumbles come in. And I don't know if I see Jacksonville. You look at Jacksonville couldn't get any heat on CJ Stroud, and they had a whole backup offensive line in. So I don't know if Jacksonville is the team that's going to be able to create enough pressure to disrupt Allen. But I mean, it's tough to pick a London game. It's just an extra variable that you got to weigh. Jacksonville is staying there all week. That's kind of weird. We haven't seen a team play 2 straight London games before. So tough game to pick.
Last year, I feel like they had 2 last year, but it wasn't back-to-back weeks?
I don't know. I don't feel like there's been back-to-back weeks for sure.
Okay.
That feels new and different to me. But let's do this, dads. Let's do rapid fire. Give us 1 or 2 more quickly. Jared, we'll circle back to you. 1 or 2 more that you're looking at real quick.
My next one is Tennessee +1. I just like the idea of Vrabel against a rookie quarterback. And I know that's kind of been, the good defensive coaches versus rookie quarterbacks. That's kind of been hammered. But Anthony Richardson right now, I mean, you saw him the first half of the Rams game was a mess. I mean, incomplete pass all over. Played really good the second half, but I just feel like Vrabel should be able to scheme up something that, it's going to limit his athletic ability, keep him inside of the pocket, and make him throw to, those receivers. I'm going to go Tennessee +1.
All right. Chris, 1 or 2 more that you're looking at.
We're going to go with a dog and a poopy one at that. How shocked are we going to be when this fucking Steelers-Ravens game lands with a game-fucking winning field goal like every other fucking time? The dog in these Ravens-Steelers battles have covered 11 in a row, and then when it's more than 3, since 2005, the dog is 21-3-3. Fuck your 57% trend, Kmart. I raise you fucking 90%. I don't know. I don't care if it's Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, Ben Roethlisberger as a stick, Joe Flacco, fucking you name a quarterback.
Mitch?
MVP Mitch, fucking who's the backup to Lamar right now? It doesn't matter who it's been. These games are close. It's going to be disgusting. 20-17, just like every other fucking time. Give me the home dog that looked like shit against Houston last week. Go Steelers.
I mean, we also like regression on this show, so that makes me like the Ravens even more. 11 in a row. Cool. That's a trend that's not going to keep lasting. So, Ravens,
all right,
it's lasted since 2005. Okay, 18 years is pretty big sample size.
I think
people should know, for context, Kmart's the guy that'll walk through the casino and see the roulette wheel land on red 11 times in a row and go bet black. People should know that's exactly where Kmart's coming from.
In your
but there's no spread involved in blackjack. It's either or. There's no losing by a field goal, catching 4.
In the long run, in roulette, coin toss, whatever, in the long run, they're going to be 50-50. That is why they created the green. So, yeah, it is the dumb thing to do to go put $100 on black or red, after a huge streak. But you're trying to catch the new streak. When it does land black, you don't just go, okay, red. But what I've been doing now, Matt, after being burned on it for countless times, I go green now when I see the long streaks.
Just it pays.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been fun. Speaking of green, I'll give you, I guess, my last one.
Whoa, what a segue.
Jets +5.
I was thinking, please say Jets. I want him to say Jets so bad.
The Jets +5. So love the way their defense played after the first quarter.
Hold on. Jets +1.
Where are you getting 5 from?
I don't know. That's what I saw.
5. Call me Miles.
Oh no, sorry. Jets +1.5. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just think like the numbers way off. So yeah, Jets +1.5. Thank you. You're making me like tell my trade secrets now. So like I think the Jets just have like one of the highest variances, to win this game. Instead of it being a coin flip, like, because Jared, the pick you had, I just had it feels like a coin flip, but I get the reasoning behind it. But defensively, I like their defense. Offensively, the Donkeys, it took them to be down 28-7. They had 7 points on Chicago's defense up until the fourth quarter. They're not going to put up 3 touchdowns on the Jets defense. I hope Wilson can scramble a bit. He's definitely lost close to 2 steps. He just, I watched a lot of that game, and he just doesn't seem to have what he had in Seattle. And I also don't understand, and I'm not trying to overreact, but Denver's defense, which should have taken a step, they're non-existent. They're just non-existent. And I do feel like Mr. Wilson got a little bit of confidence in a losing effort. Like, he played fairly well. He had better numbers than Mahomes. But to me, it was more the confidence. Like, this kid just needs confidence. Like, I do think he could be better than what, he's not. Like, I don't think he's garbage. Like, he got drafted in the NFL. Like, that was a garbage take. Like, it's like he watches us. Rodney Harrison. Like, I couldn't believe, like, a guy on TV, he's garbage. It's like you listen to these, like, bullshit podcasts, just kids who, whatever. It's like, who says that, like, on national TV? Anyway, Jets is looking like probably my favorite play, and I would be shocked if Hazmat Suit over here isn't on that with me 2 weeks in a row. It just seems like a mismatch. Jets, without Rodgers, or with Rodgers, they're supposed to be a 10-win team. So I just think that numbers come down a lot.
A slight favorite, and then I'm wondering why it flipped again. Jets playing pretty competitive on Sunday night.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they had every reason down 17-0 to throw it in, and to come back and to, they had the pick, but Gardner held. I saw the replay. He's bitching on Twitter. He held. It's legal contact or holding. Like, it was one of the two. Like, he got caught off leverage. Like, the receiver made a great move. Like, it's just the rules of the game. Like, it was holding or illegal contact. It was one of the two. But yeah, they're right there. They're right there with, the Super Bowl defending champions, one of the favorites again. The effort, the confidence, like, you got to like it. Even more so than the Donkeys coming back 28-7 on the Bears. Like, if they did it against the Niners, sure, but it was the Bears. Kind of like the Giants when they did it to the Cardinals. Just like, look what they did the following week.
Matt, give us your one you're going to lock in, and let's get out of here.
Miami by 1 million.
Ooh, okay.
The Giants are an abomination. They're an embarrassment to football. I don't know how you get a blowtorch taken to you multiple times in the first month of the season.
Matt, you and I everyone acts like it's so hard
football team.
Be a bookmaker, but you and I text during that game. We looked and said it was 9, and I literally snap called and said, "When does this hit 11?" We wake up the next morning, it's already at fucking 11.
Yeah. The Giants offensively, they lack a plan. They lack execution. They lack personnel. Oh my God, they're terrible. Sorry, Buff. I'm not trying to pick on them. I swear. I even gave them credit last week. I said, hey, against teams like Seattle, they might actually look okay. Nope. And they got boat raced again. So I think Miami off getting their ass kicked, it's such a good get-right spot. The Giants are not going to be able to stop them. It's going to be ugly.
I honestly played the Giants second half just because, and Chris, I think you did too. We were texting about it.
Like, they look good. They look like they're going to make it a game, 14-10.
Yeah, because Seattle hadn't really done. Yeah, Seattle didn't really do anything, and I'm like, man, if he just protects the ball, and honestly, before that pick six, that it looked like we had a shot, because if they go and even a field goal, 14-6. play defense. You never know. Like the game changed from that moment on. It was over, and it was just laughable. But up to that point, I mean, they were right there. And
yeah, I mean, you gave them 3 points, or no, you gave them 7 with the fumble, and you gave them 7 with the.
Yeah.
You gave them their defense actually did play okay. So
right.
But
like,
man, I don't know why we call him Danny Dimes anymore. I've been saying it. What the fuck? What is their dime worth? What is dime to the other team?
Danny Crimes. Danny Crimes.
But like,
I think it's. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say it's the same thing with Zach Wilson, but you can see on the kid's face he has no confidence.
Clearly,
like he just looks like a broken man, and then he got the ball just. Tossing the tablet, which was funny, but it's kind of like the Bengals. It's like, what else is going on? Like, I actually will listen to Lombardi's show this week because he loves taking apart this team, and I can't wait to hear what he says.
Yeah,
I can hear him now. I mean, seriously.
I think it's going to look like the Giant Niners game, and the only difference is going to be the Dolphins are going to score touchdowns in the first quarter and not dick around in the red zone. I think it's going to be Miami score, Giants 3 and out, Miami score, and then the route is on. I don't really see a way for the Giants to throw themselves back in the game. They're just not built to. They're not built to be able to match score for score with teams that are good on off. They just can't do it. So, Miami by $1 billion. I don't care if it's square. Good. 90% of tickets on Miami. Good.
I'm shocked.
It should be. So
Matt, I swear to God, if that is not in your contest, I'm gonna be sad.
We'll see. I mean, you got to convince 3 other people, but I'm personally going to be betting. I think it's a good one to outline Miami, and this might sound really dumb. Maybe they play a turnover mistake-filled game, and the Giants somehow cobble together some competence and put drives together and don't turn the ball. Maybe that happens, but I certainly am not.
Almost every game this year, the Giants have looked really good on their opening drive, and then just go non-existent. So if they can. I know it's scripted, but still, like, there's more rollouts. Like, they were getting Danny out of the pocket. They weren't just having him sit there. He had confidence. So, like, they have to somehow take that scripted shit and, like, keep it going for the game because his whole demeanor changed. But like, even against the Niners, like, you just see it. Like, I don't.
I mean, you saw my twin over there just snapped and threw the iPad at him. He lost it, dude. It was He didn't have – when you have those easy plays to make and you can't make those easy plays, he lost it, He just – like, dude, just check it down. Or, dude, just fucking slide, But –
your twin.
Yeah. We got to get a side-by-side.
Jared is – for those not watching the video and don't know what Jared looks like, Jared is if Brian Daboll and Shane Lowry had a kid. That's Jared right there. Jared, we love you, Dad. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, anytime.
He's probably a nicer guy.
Nice win on the Ryder Cup there, buddy.
Yeah. All right, moms and dads, we will see you. When are we going to see you for 4 Idiots? Thursday?
Tomorrow at 5.
Perfect. Thursday, 5 o'clock. Be there, 5 Pacific.
J-Buck's going to be on
winners.
too.
All right, I love it. All right, Chris, remind everybody sometimes what happens when you bet on poop.
You get Dayball and Jared's twin to throw a fucking iPad at you because you're getting rocked by Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. Oh, man.